What's up, everyone? This is the Oklahoma Prepper. I wanted to talk to you guys a minute. This is going to take a while. If you guys don't want to see a selfie video, then uh, skip to the end or whatever. But this is something rather important that I want to address with as many people as I can. But before I go on and start talking about this, I want everybody to, if you don't like this video, then don't like it. If you don't want to subscribe, then don't subscribe. But please share this video. Um, because one of the things that I want to talk about today is in the winter, um, fire safety is probably one of the most important things. So, as you guys know, that I'm a firefighter, and uh, I take a lot of pride in my fire safety, in my personal life as well as on the job. Uh, so this is something that I'd really like to talk to you guys about and explain a few things to. So we all have different types of methods of heating our houses. I have a wood stove sitting right here next to me, and it is amazing. I love it. Never had a problem with it. Um, Growing up, we had gas. The house was gas, and we had those old Dearborn heaters and those things. Next to a wood stove, I mean, they're just there's no comparison. The only difference is pretty much the cost. If you know how to cut wood and split wood, then a wood stove is free, pretty much free. Gas, propane, or natural gas is quite a bit more expensive. Um, then there's electricity. One of the most dangerous things that we can do is have space heaters and heating lamps. I understand. I understand that not everyone can go out and buy a central heating system or uh, expensive wood stove, and then if you don't know how to cut wood or split wood, then you'd have to buy the wood, and a lot of people can't afford stuff. So the best thing that they can do is um, heat their house with space heaters or some other type of electrical heating, and that's a very dangerous thing. And that's one of the things that I really want to talk to you guys about. For one in particular, one of the Facebook groups that I'm in is more towards the homesteading. Uh, I guess the homesteading lifestyle, if you will. And I know that in the winter we really worry about our livestock and our animals, our pets especially. Um, and I know that there's a an individual that posted some pictures of their burnt down barn on Facebook, and with the caption, a lot of livestock lost, our hearts are broken, and all this was due to a heating lamp or heat lamp. Um, you guys got to be careful with those things. Now, I've been on fires. I've been on house fires where the cause of the fire was uh, space heaters. Somebody left and went to the store or had to go to the next town to get a couple of things from the grocery store and came back and their house was on fire or burnt down. Um, I've been on fires where, you know, people had frozen pipes and they opened their cabinet doors and put a heating lamp in the in on the floor in front of the cabinet area to try to thaw out the pipes and burnt the house down. The most common type of heating related fires is mostly the heating lamps. Uh, they're very dangerous. Please, if you are going to use them, please do not leave them unattended. Please please know how to have the equipment ready. Have a fire extinguisher, have a garden hose or something ready to help a, attempt to fight the fire. Um, anything, even if it's, you know, grabbing your wife, telling her to run out to by the road and call the fire department while you're in there with a garden hose. Be careful. But if you catch it soon enough, you won't have to worry about very much damage. And it may be something that you can control on your own, depending on how far away the fire department is or, um, the conditions of the roads. So, you know, I understand that, you want to try to keep your chickens warm in the winter, your goats, sheep, whatever. Uh, I understand that. I respect that. I love, I cannot stand the thought that there's livestock out there in the freezing cold. It's 14 degrees outside, 3 inches of snow and ice on the ground, and all my chickens are bedded up in the chicken coop. But we have to remember, you know, even though that I know that what I'm going to say is true, we have to remember that because I can say it all day long, but I still worry. Um, if it weren't for their nature, them to adapt to this and have their own methods of surviving harsh temperatures, they wouldn't be here today. There are wild animals all over the world that survive daily, yearly, that completely survive on through harsh temperatures. There's animals that you know if like I said, guys, if it wasn't for their adaptability, then they wouldn't be here today. So we worry about them, but just know that if it's if they're not able to adapt and survive a winter, then it could be that there's something wrong with that animal and it just wasn't strong enough to make it. So, what do we do if anything on our property catches on fire? What are some of the things that we want to do? The first thing is make sure everyone is out. Don't worry about, oh, I've got these family heirlooms or I've got these priceless paintings. You know, maybe it can't be replaced, but I would rather know that I spent time getting my family out of the house and saved my family rather than going back in and trying to get my personal property, things that I can replace, things that I can buy at a store, and potentially endanger myself or someone else. Um, so make sure your family and if you can, pets are out because pets are our family too. So make sure your family and your pets are out of the house. Depending on the area you're from, the city, the state, the county, it might be illegal to pull the electric meter out of the wall uh, or off of the pole, or it might be illegal to pull the electric meter out. Either way, the power companies, the fire department's going to do it once they get there. Um, so the best thing that you can do is flip the main breaker off. Now, when you do that, there's multiple things that could happen. Either if the fire is caused by an electrical fault, then uh, you could be killing the source of the fire, which could then help either put the fire out on its own or um, uh, stop fire from spreading to other places more rapidly. If there's more than one fault in the breaker. Another thing is that when firefighters want spray water on the fire, the last thing we want to do is have electricity come through that water line and shock us, and charge the engine. That's not a good thing. That's not something we want. Um, yeah, we have to, when we're on house fires, we just have to hope and pray that the breaker's tripped. That's all we can do. And, I've never been shocked by anything, other than, uh, as far as electrical hazards, other than power lines, when a house burns down or when a house catches fire in a certain area, maybe the power line breaks loose from the house and then sits on the ground and arcs. Uh, that and gives us a little bit of a light show. That's pretty much it. But there is still a hazard there as well. So there's multiple things that you have to worry about as a firefighter when you're fighting a house fire. I know I didn't say this in the beginning, but it's a given. Call 911. When you're on the phone with the 911 dispatcher, please try to stay as calm as possible. Give them clear directions, a clear address, and clear contact information. And if possible, get to know the area you live in, if you don't already, and know where your closest fire hydrant is. That is a big help to a lot of fire departments. And, you know, uh, on the fire department I was on, when I first started as a firefighter, I was probably the only one in that town that knew where every fire hydrant was in that town. Every hydrant. Um, so sometimes, on your volunteer departments, a lot of firefighters really don't realize that, hydrant location is probably one of the most important things uh, to know when you're getting to a house fire, because sometimes the you know when, what we would do back then is we would pull up to the hydrant, we would stretch our supply line, and then drag a hose off the truck and then start running our tack lines. And while we're running the 500-gallon tank empty out of the engine, we're tying into the hydrant and turning our supply line on. If you live near, for example, my hydrant is at the corner, uh, about maybe 100 feet, if that, from my front door. And it's in a very blind spot. Um, I make sure to maintain the area of my fire hydrant really well throughout the year. In the summer and spring and fall, when grass is growing, if I'm mowing the yard, I make sure to go out and mow the area and weed eat the area around the fire hydrant to make sure it's clear and visible as possible. And because at that corner there's a blind curve, if you're coming from the north around that curve and you're focused on my house on fire, you're not going to see that hydrant. So have someone, um, an adult, or someone that's old enough to know that they need to stay clear of the road, yet be able to flag the firefighters down to notify them, to show them that there's a hydrant there, is a big help as well. So call 911, turn the power off to the house, flip a breaker, give clear, detailed instructions on your location and how to get there, and have someone near a fire hydrant closest to you to be able to notify and give the location of the hydrant to the firefighters. Once the fire crews get off the truck, uh, a bunch of firefighters are just going to start grabbing hose, getting geared up, and go fight fire. Someone will be a fire chief, an engineer, a captain, or a driver. Will be uh, contacting you as the residents, as a homeowner or the occupants, to ask questions. If there's anything that they need to know, if somebody's stuck in the house, they need to know that. If you have a basement, tell them you have a basement. If you have a safe and you have a basement, or even if you have a safe somewhere in the second floor, if you have a multiple story dwelling, um, notify them of those hazards, because if we are in the garage area, the garage catches fire, and there's a game room directly over the garage, when there's a big uh, upright gun safe in there and it's full of guns, that's something they need to know when they do their interior offensive fire attack. They want to know which areas to stay clear of in case the the safe falls through. The same goes with a um, old cast iron bathtub. Those things are heavy, and we don't want to be under one of those when the floor gives out above us. So just kind of give some information about the layout of your house. You walk in, uh, there's a dining room off to the right, or you're walking straight into a hallway, or there's a bedroom right off to the left, and then the kitchen. Just give them information, that way if they do have to go in and search, that way they can kind of know exactly where to go and what areas to search first, that the person or victim might be potentially in, most likely. Guns and ammunition. If you're watching this video and you're subscribed to this channel, you more than likely have guns or are a gun enthusiast or pro guns. Um, if not, that's fine. That's fine too. But if you have guns and ammunition stored up, or you reload your own rounds, then it is very important to let the fire department know that you have guns, that you have lots of ammunition, and that you have your own reloading equipment, because it's a big help. It's a big help to us. Ammunition, when it's popping off, when it's cooking off in a house fire, it really doesn't provide that much of a threat to us, because in order for a bullet to go off and be deadly, um, it of course has to have a heat source, and usually it's the hammer or the firing pin striking the primer, which creates the heat source. In this case, it's going to be an external heat source. You've seen videos on there's videos on YouTube. Demolition Ranch has several videos of him burning ammunition and watching. There's videos of it going off, or even putting a gun in a deep fryer and the ammunition going off. There's all kinds of different videos out there to look at, but ammunition is not as much of a threat outside of the chamber as it is inside the chamber of a gun. So that's another thing to keep in mind and always remember. Don't ever assume that any ammunition is not going to be dangerous in a fire, because some freak accident it might happen. It could happen. We've kind of talked about some of the things about what to do in the event that your house catches on fire. Um, let's talk a little bit more about let's go back to the beginning and talk a little bit more about some of the causes of fires in the winter. Like I said, space heaters and heating lamps are some of the most common that we get. Very rarely around here, because not a lot of people use wood heat. Um, we get chimney fires or wood stove pipe fires, or fires caused from wood stoves or chimneys or fireplaces, or any open flame source like that. Most commonly, like I said, are electrical, or maybe gas leak fires. Um, but I'm in the process of editing a video that I just shot today. Um, I'm having problems with some of the videos. Some of the clips didn't record right. So when that video gets put up, there will be a link in the description for it. So wood stoves, chimneys, fireplaces. Let's talk a little bit about that. one of the most common things with uh, open flame source heating fires is because of creosote buildup in the chimney or the stovepipe. Um, the chimney, people say you only need to clean it once a year at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year. You guys have seen that video of from last year. You wouldn't believe what I found in my stovepipe. I found my 90 from the wall, from going out the wall and straight up, was full of some kind of creosote and other ash deposit, and that was the most embarrassing that I've ever been. Um, that was the most embarrassed that I've ever been as far as something so dangerous about something that I'm so um, aware of and so subconscious of, is fire safety. Last year was my first year running a wood stove. Um, and like I said, there's videos out there of people saying, oh, you only need to clean it once a year. So, I didn't clean it. And when I took it down, I was going to clean it. And, to be honest with you guys, I don't know how my house didn't burn down or how I didn't have a chimney fire because of that. Um, so please, 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 please do not rely on that once a year method. Yes, it may work in some cases if you know, if your equipment is so amazing that you have a secondary burn chamber and all this other stuff. It may work. It may be great. It may be awesome. You may not have to clean it more than once a year. I at least check mine, at the very least, check my stovepipe at least twice a month, at least once every 2 weeks. And 90% of that time, I I haven't checked my stovepipe at all without cleaning it, even just giving it a quick sweep with my homemade chimney sweep I made. Um, don't don't rely on anybody else's experiences because they may be different from yours. You may not have to, you may check your stovepipe in 2 weeks and it may be completely clean compared to me checking mine in 2 weeks and I may have a little bit of creosote buildup. You may not have to worry about that, but I do no matter what. One of the biggest reasons for creosote buildup in your chimney or wood stove is due to a, a not ideal firewood. It may be trashy wood. It may be something that's not a very hard wood that easily ashes and is kind of taking up the chimney or stovepipe with the heat rising. Or it may be improperly seasoned. It may have gotten wet, or it may not be seasoned at all. It just may be. I went out last week and cut a bunch of trees down and using it for firewood right now. Uh, that's fine. Just again, double up on your safety. Double up on uh, your fireplace and wood stove safety. Check your stovepipe and chimney regularly when you're doing that because um, the moisture content can cause a lot of problems with wood stoves and fireplaces. One of the biggest things you can do is that helps the most is check your smoke detectors, batteries regularly, monthly if you have to. Make it a habit. That's one of the most important things you do. If you don't have smoke detectors, go out and get one. If you can't afford them, go to the fire department. Your local fire department. Some fire departments have programs where they give out smoke detectors for free to people that can't afford them. You know, there are smoke detectors that range anywhere from about $2 or $3 to $20 or $30. I'm not saying go out and buy you top of the line, but at least get something that'll notify you. Um, So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up real quick. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on uh, that subject. I know this is quite a long-winded video, but you know, take passion and take pride in fire safety. And if it if this video helps at least one person, um, then that's one person that saved their house. Uh, so again, if you don't want to like this video, don't like it. If you don't want to subscribe to my channel, don't subscribe to my channel. But please share this video to help somebody else out, help friends and family out that may not, be aware of some of the things that um, are potential in using different heat sources in the wintertime. So again, just make sure that you do not leave your space heaters, wood stoves, any type of heat source unattended, um, because it could be very dangerous, and you don't want that. So I think, let's see. I've got some big news coming up. I've got some huge news coming up um, soon. I'm not sure exactly when. It's actually going to be in the next week or two. Huge news. But uh, I think I'm going to delay that until the delivery because it make for a better video. Exactly. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap that one up. Be safe. Uh, be fire aware. You know, if you guys want to, if you guys are still here and you guys want to take a look at some video, take a look at a video that I made, I believe in the summer, about what to do in the case of wildfire, just check down below, or I'll put a link in the description for that video as well. There's links also down below for all my social media accounts: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Um, I think that's it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Uh, Steam it as well. If you guys aren't on Steam it, check it out. If you don't like it, don't have to, but check it out. It's really handy. It's really nifty. Um, so I'm gonna wrap this video up for now. I think that's gonna be it. So you guys, I appreciate you lending me your time for this video. Um, Again, share this video, help someone else out. Stay safe, keep prepping.